All right, good morning. It's 6:01 on this Wednesday. TransLink is once again apologizing to commuters who were once again caught up in yet another significant delay with Skytrain. Greg Harper is at Waterfront Station this morning with more. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Well, let's talk about this morning. So far, the commute this morning is a smooth one, which will be a welcome relief to the thousands of transit users who were stranded yesterday in what was a mess. Both the Expo and Millennium lines were shut down from Waterfront here to Royal Oak. TransLink says the trains timed out and weren't communicating with the main computer system. Extra buses were brought in to try and alleviate the volume, but thousands of people were stuck waiting until the system got up and running again, which wasn't until around 7 o'clock. Now, just last month, Skytrain experienced another massive shutdown, this after a bird's nest caught fire on the guideway near the Main Street station. This happened during the morning commute. Colleen Brennan, VP of Communications with TransLink, she will be joining us at 8 o'clock this morning to talk about what took place yesterday, which is still being investigated. And she'll also talk about, well, we'll ask her, what is TransLink doing to try and minimize these delays that seem to be happening on a more frequent basis? We'll get into that later this morning. But Kyle, again, so far the morning commute, a smooth one. Kyle?
All right, Greg Harper reporting live this morning in downtown Vancouver. Thanks for that, Greg. 6:02 right now. A lengthy public hearing is set to take place at Vancouver City Hall tonight. More than 90 people are expected to weigh in on the city's proposals to regulate pot shops.
We have 8 stores within 8 blocks of us and 2 within 2 blocks of the school.
Concerned parents want something done about the number of dispensaries springing up in their neighborhood. The city is proposing a $30,000 licensing fee, a ban on edibles, and limits on how close stores can be to schools. Nonprofit dispensaries say there should be a 2-tier system, and the licensing fee should only apply to recreational marijuana retailers.
So I'd like to see the 3 governments get into sync and help with providing the information that we need to know what's going on, and then decide what's going to happen with these. It's not a question of whether or not marijuana should be, it's whether or not it is, and how they're going to deal with it as it is today.
We turn people away. Plain and simple. We turn people away. If you don't have a medical condition, you are not welcome at our store.
Vancouver police are looking for a man wanted on a Canada-wide warrant who is accused of robbing a pot dispensary downtown. Police say 2 men allegedly armed with weapons robbed Seymour Street's Green Room marijuana dispensary on Monday before running away on foot. One was arrested 3 days later. The other still hasn't been caught. 32-year-old Eric Joseph Chatrand is considered to be armed and dangerous. Anyone who sees him should contact police. Will BCAA members be able to get the help they may need if they run into trouble during their summer travels? The company has now locked out about 70 staff members responsible for dispatching roadside assistance. That means you could be in for delays if your car breaks down and you need to get a tow. The previous contract expired in 2014, and bargaining has been ongoing ever since. BCAA says it believes its offer to the union is fair, and if needed, managers will step in to operate the roadside assistance contact center.
Our members, there's other people at BCAA who work 35 hours a week for a same level of pay that our members get for 40 hours a week. So we're just asking to be treated fairly like everyone else at BCAA.
Well, the province has released an audit report suggesting the Vancouver School Board could save millions of dollars a year by closing up to 19 schools. The 225-page report says there are 10,000 empty classroom seats right across the city. BC's education minister says the board could find $750 million in one-time savings through asset sales and by avoiding seismic upgrades and maintenance on schools that could be closed. He says a further $72 million could be saved annually through increased revenues and reduced costs.
There are areas in the city of Vancouver, for example, the east side, that has overcapacity while the west is growing, and so they have to look at that in terms of their fiscal planning and their long-term strategic plan.
We hear about all the new residents of Vancouver and all the developments, and we have to take that into consideration because we have to project enrollments, because if we were to sell schools, we were to close schools and to try to get back into the market, would be very difficult.
Tributes are pouring in from all over the world for an Edmonton police officer who was shot and killed in the line of duty. An autopsy will be conducted on the suspected shooter. His body was recovered from inside a burned-out house that was the site of Monday's crime scene. Investigators believe Norman Raditz was the shooter. He was a divorced father with money problems who was the subject of a hate crimes arrest warrant that was being delivered by 8 officers. Constable Darren Woodall was shot and killed, while Sergeant Jason Harley was wounded by a bullet. Well, the CBC has fired high-profile journalist Evan Solomon for allegedly breaching the network's code of ethics. The Toronto Star is reporting Solomon was taking commission payments linked to sales between a Toronto area art collector and people he knew through his job as a television host. That includes ex-Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney. Solomon issued a statement last night. He says he never intentionally used his position at the CBC to promote a private business.